Jay, you want to make a few comments before I ask for a motion on that?
Yes, sir, if I may. We opened bids on Tuesday, August 30th. Very pleased. We got three very competitive bids. Our consultant, Walford and Associates, Mr. Scott Daniels, is here this evening to answer any questions the board may have. But the low bidder on the project appears to be Chris Hill Construction Company in the total amount, including the ad alternate, of $573,810.
Okay. All right.
And Mayor, after discussion on the bid, I would like to address the cost very briefly.
Okay.
Or whenever it's appropriate.
Okay. Any questions from the board members?
This is just phase one of the plant itself, right?
This is the replacing
The
the
existing.
existing equipment,
All
yes,
right.
sir. And Scott, 9 to 10 months?
Yes. Should be maybe a little bit less, but around 8 to 9 months.
Okay.
And the name of the company is Chris Hill Construction.
Yes.
8 to 9 months, so last week, there was brought up a moratorium just on the wastewater treatment facility for 4 months. But this is gonna take 8 months, 8 to 9 months. And we're not gonna have a moratorium at all, but we still got about 3 years plus on that construction.
Certainly 2
So
years.
we're at looking 2 years plus 9 months.
Well, excuse me, there'll be some overlap, but the 9 months, and again, I could be corrected here, but there's like 3 pieces of equipment that are being replaced, and there's different delivery dates and different installation dates for each item. But total is gonna be several months. It's like, I put a make statement, it's probably like everything else, it's just hard to get delivery right now.
It is. I mean, it's just, the bar screen is the longest lead time. It's 6 months to get it from the time it's ordered.
Okay.
If there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Did you want to discuss the cost before the
Well,
motion?
what I wanted,
Oh,
what
you
I
want-
wanted,
I'm sorry,
what I wanted to
okay.
share with the board, and we talked about this earlier, but at your meeting next week, your regular monthly meeting, we'll have an ordinance to allocate $600,000 from the utility fund retained earnings, the fund balance, to pay for this. And we will not incur any debt for these improvements. But then when we go to expand the plant, that's when we would incur debt, if that's agreeable to the board. And that will be on your agenda next week.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the low bidder, Chris Hill.
Have a motion from Mr. Sutton to accept the low bid.
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Cates. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, second is a resolution for sole source bid awards for Oakland Police Department safety cameras. Mr. J, you want to make a few comments on that, or someone here want to make a few comments on that?
There's, yes, sir. This is included in the FY '22 budget, but our Assistant Chief, Larry Gaines, has a guest he would like to introduce and discuss this bid.
Okay,
Gentlemen, this is Mr. Nicholas Bloom with Flock Safety. We are requesting this to be a sole source award based on technology and based on the surrounding cameras throughout this Mid-South area that we can link into to deter solved crimes. So Mr. Bloom's here to answer any questions why Flock Safety is considered a sole source.
okay.
Do you want me to speak to that now, or?
Yes, sir, go right ahead.
May I suggest you take 2 minutes and describe what the technology is?
Yes, so what we do is we
Would you
provide.
please come up to the platform?
Yeah, sorry. So what we do at Flock is we provide license plate reading cameras. Now, what that means, is our So these yes,
Y'all have them in Shelby County?
yes we do. So
We could save some time, guys. And what this
Oh,
is,
come on.
I mean, I'm serious. I mean,
He just showed up all this way.
hey, it's fine.
this, all of our crime's coming from there. If, license plate readers, I can explain this to you, okay? I do a favor for MPD. I go get a stolen trailer for them about a month and a half ago. They asked me to take it to my lot till they determine what to do with it. The police begs me to carry it to Atlanta, Georgia. So I get a driver to take it down there. She goes through a LPR. Memphis didn't take it out of the system. They take her down, felony traffic stop. Okay, I had to get a hold of the MPD, say, look, y'all didn't take that trailer out. They got my driver took down. They do it. So this basically tells you this. If we have a crime in Oakland and these cameras out here read a license plate, okay? We got the car on camera. We got a description of it off somebody's house camera. We go to our LPR camera. We've got it. Every morning in Memphis, those cars with the cameras are riding around. And when they ride around, they go through the hotels, places where crime occurs in their corridors, and they get hits constantly. When we got a van stolen down there in Memphis, same thing. They rode around the hotels, they caught our van on Lamar Avenue, we go over and get it. It's the greatest thing that could ever happen to our town to deter crime. Once they find out we got them, maybe they'll go somewhere else that don't have them.
Yeah, if you speak to Shelby County, they're down, I believe it's 30% in Group A crimes year to date. They're solving homicides in less than 12 hours. So through our machine learning technology, they're able to find associated vehicles. So, convoy analysis. They're able to search for vehicles based on makes and models without a plate, vehicles with no plates. And we have about 1,200 cameras across the state. We're the largest provider in the state, and the cost leader or price leader in the market as well. So, if a hot car comes in, hot car meaning stolen vehicle, an alert will go out to your dispatch and the MDTs and the cruisers. They can dispatch someone within a matter of 10 seconds that that car is here in your jurisdiction.
May I ask a question, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
The technology behind the reader, is that the one-time fee, or is there an ongoing fee for the,
So it's a yearly subscription. So
Okay.
it's a subscription-based model, correct? Yeah.
okay.
Do you mind me asking who you deal with on your LPRs?
At Shelby County,
Where do y'all get them?
we build our own LPRs.
You do?
Yeah, so we're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Everything's manufactured in Atlanta. Customer service is all based in the U.S. Everything.
Because most of the ones that you use statewide, they come from Canada.
So ours are all manufactured and built in Atlanta and shipped from our warehouse there.
So you all gonna stay in the U.S.?
Correct. Yep. Yes, sir.
All right.
It's just kind of
I'm,
like,
I'm good. Does anybody have
Anybody else got any
problems or
questions? Ms.
for me?
Cates, you got a question? Okay, Mr. Duncan, you good? All right,
I make
looking
a
for a
motion,
motion.
make a motion, we accept this vendor, Flock, did I say that right? Flock,
Yes, sir. Flock. Yep.
Flock Safety as a sole source vendor?
Before the second, it's 5 cameras we're gonna get. Second.
That's correct, Larry?
Yes.
and that's going on what? The vehicles?
So these will be, I'll let Chief speak. These
Should
are,
be stationary like at intersections.
No, sir, these are solar powered poles. Flock will send a consultant down with the police department and will go around the city and determine the best locations they are. But they do not go on any existing, like, it doesn't need power, it doesn't go on a Chickasaw pole. They have their own solar power.
So, we do have an agreement with Chickasaw. We've worked with them. So if there is poles available that we can mount to the solar panel camera, we will do that. So we'll do whatever is most aesthetically pleasing and going to be most effective for the department to be able to capture as much data
Okay.
as possible.
In the city I was with previously, we had these mounted on the roof of several
Yep.
cars where we could drive through parking lots and all. Is that the next step?
So we partner with Axon in order to provide their in-car cameras. So if you become an Axon customer, you have that option. What we found in talking to a lot of departments is that with vehicles, it's right place, right time, right? With a fixed site location, you have data points 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we're maintaining the entire system for you. If a vehicle gets into an accident, that car is out of service for 4 to 6 weeks. If the software goes bad, it's $50,000 to replace the entire unit. We maintain it
you think only 5 cameras is all we need?
Artificially, it's a good start.
Okay. Just asking.
I
I'm
tell
sure-
you, it's gonna make a difference. If you think these criminals hadn't learned what they are, you're wrong. Right down Chickasaw Gardens. And I think Sky Cop has that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I'm not familiar with that area, but I'm guessing Sky Cop. So Sky Cop did have a pretty heavy presence in that.
I have
area.
Sky Cop at my place of business,
Okay, yeah.
but I'm willing to entertain.
Okay, we have a motion for Mr. Sutton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second for Mr. Duncan. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, moving on.
Appreciate y'all having me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Look forward to
to
working with you.
the city.
I'd like to one of those cheap put by McDonald's so I can keep up with Mr. Fisher, how many times he goes to McDonald's every day.
Dude, I had the manager call me. Said, why are you still there? I was like, dang it. You got cameras in here.
All right, moving on. Other items, Mr. J, report on wastewater treatment plant renovation, the expansion phase 3, phase 2.
While Scott was here this evening, I thought it'd be appropriate for him to give you a brief update on what they're working on and future schedule for the expansion. Scott?
We are still working on the evaluation of the plant and working on. Look at it in the next 30 with you and go with it. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have at this point. We can do what we can,
But that costs more money.
it will cost money.
Yeah.
The goal is to
All that was in their original contract, you have to get.
So all the designs are all the same, aren't they? Yes.
Each one's different, isn't it?
We've done.
You mean a treatment facility?
No two of them are alike.
Really?
Why not?
Everybody's wastewater is different.
I don't know, toilets are all
I
the same
can
to me.
understand that.
Let me ask you this question. Have you been involved, or do y'all only do the big wastewater plants, or have y'all ever done any for single businesses that the water gets treated on site,
We call that pre-treatment.
pre-treatment? That you could put a site on site. Wastewater lines to the river. You had never heard of that?
You can't release to the state, to the waters of the state without a.
Anything,
permit. You can have an on-site treatment like a septic tank or there's several on-site treatments like that. And you can get a non-discharge permit, which means you're gonna do like spray irrigation or drip irrigation, something like that. It doesn't work too well in these parts just because we've got a lot of clay in the soil. What they're then looking at is that you can absorb it into the soil with zero runoff off of the site. Because it's a non-discharge permit. But with an NPDES permit, it allows you to discharge water to the waters of the state. And y'all got one. It's a 3 mg permit you currently got right now.
That's good.
Any other questions? Quick.
We will push them forward.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, item B, report on proposed modal grant application to TDOT. Mr. J?
We had a public meeting at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and the drawing, the rendering is on the table there if anyone will look at it. But we're proposing to construct new sidewalks, handicap accessible sidewalks, some other improvements on 194 South from Highway 64 to Main Street. This would be a grant application to TDOT. If approved, it would pay 95% of the cost. Cost preliminary, $100,000, so our cost would be $20,000. Years tried to get funding for this going north on 194 and was not successful. So we thought we'd try 194 South because you've got the there by the post office, and there's more. I thought it might score higher if we did this. One other thing, I think if we're successful in their right-of-way vision, or could right-of-way be acquired to get a 3-lane cross-section street in at least part of this. But that's a decision for the future. But on your agenda next week would be a resolution to authorize the mayor to submit the grant application. And if again, after the meeting, if you want to look at the drawing outline there.
With that, as you say, the expansion of the road and all that, can we,
Well, the reason I'm suggesting we go to a 3-lane cross-section is because all the turning movements. So my off-the-hand comment be, we don't want to increase the speed with all those turning movements. But that would be something I'd defer to the police and public works and others to look at. But what happens now, and you all know this, for the post office, for McDonald's, for the dental office, if a car wants to turn in, it blocks the traffic lane. And if it's coming out, it blocks the traffic lane in all McDonald's. So that's where I was coming from and even suggesting that. But the purpose of this grant, the objective of this grant is to improve to improve pedestrian traffic and bike lanes and things like that, multimodal transportation, where all forms of transportation are in one right-of-way.
but you know how tight it is there.
I do.
Where's that lane gonna come from? To add a third,
That-
turning
that-
lane?
Again, in conversation, it's something we'd have to look at in detail, but it would probably have to come from the east side. I don't think you get it on the west side. And it may not be feasible. But what might be feasible is getting 10 or 12-foot traffic lanes instead of 9. That's an extremely narrow road for the amount of traffic it carries.
That's true.
And again, this project is only from 64 down to Main Street.
Yeah, but nobody saw the foresight of how big this place was gonna grow, and everything's tight,
Yes.
so, all right.
All right, any other questions? Okay. We'll move on to the next item, and that's approval of invoices. Ms. Vaughn, you got anything there for us?
You guys have a packet. We've got, 3 invoices that I'm presenting to you that were over 45 days. I either received them late, as I was explaining earlier, there was one that had actually hooked on to another invoice, and we didn't realize that it had happened until the vendor called looking for payment. The other 2 invoices that I have they exceeded the purchase order amount. One exceeded $75, the other exceeded $160.
Take a few minutes to look at them there, and I'll entertain a motion when you're ready.
Was
Question?
this, why couldn't this wait for our regular meeting?
Because I have a couple of those invoices that we really need to get paid this week. I will be out next week for training classes, and I need to get these checks in the mail.
All right.
motion to approve the invoices.
Have a motion from Mr. Sutton to approve the invoices. Have a second from Mr. Fisher.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Oops. I guess there's nobody got an objection to that.
Is that fast enough for you, Mayor?
Then we're mentioned tomorrow, 9 o'clock.
I was going to, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning in front lawn of City Hall, we're gonna have a brief ceremony in honor and remembrance of 911.
And Miss Deborah Hummel will be your speaker.
I tell you, I want, it has come together extremely well for something that we just started planning. It fell into place.
Usually does.
Mr. Sutton, I will see you next Wednesday. If the good Lord's willing, the creek don't rise, and my wife don't shoot me.
She ain't gonna be with you.
Yeah, she's gonna be with me. No, that's next weekend. I'm going to St. Louis for 2 days for ball games and then up to her brother's. I will, I hope.